Tribe? It is your girl Naja, and I'm back with another video. This is gonna be like a how-to video, somewhat of a story time, but not really, because I kind of already told stories about how I moved, like the process of me moving out and stuff like that. But I do get a lot of questions about like how I moved out so young. I moved out when I was 19, and for some reason in society they always want to make it seem like once you turn 18 you should just be out the house, you know, but it doesn't usually work that way. Sometimes people live with their parents into their 20s. Like, it's nothing to be ashamed of, it's just not a race, you get what I'm saying? So if you guys want to know some tips and tricks on how I moved out so young, keep watching this video. Please hit that subscribe button if you have never seen my face before. Hi, hello. Give me a big thumbs up. It helps me get noticed in this crazy ass world of YouTube. And yeah, let's get right into it. Well, I had always wanted to move out of my house ever since I was around like 16, mainly because my home environment just wasn't really satisfactory to me when I was a teenager. Didn't really get that much attention from like my parental figure or anything like that. I was pretty much getting all of my attention from socializing outside of the house. I didn't really feel a part of my house. Sure, I may have gotten the basic necessities of living, such as a roof, a bed, and food, and education, going to school, but I just really did not feel a part of my home, and I knew that once I turned 18 I had to bust my ass to get out of my house. So I got my first job when I was 17 and I started saving up from that. I was not making a lot of money at all and my savings account was very dry, okay? I turned 18, my uncle actually started a fund for me, well, an account for me when I was, I want to say 12. And the fund grew, the account grew and grew interest over time, and I ended up having $5,000 available for me to cash when I was 18, and it was supposed to go towards me getting a car because I did not have a car until I was 18. So my grandmother came down and she kind of blessed me with the fact where she was like, look, I'm going to pay for this car and you keep the $5,000. And she hid, that was like a big like family like secret, I guess. But when my mom found out, she was really pissed and would always ask me for money, and like that $5,000 blew very quick. I was young, I was stupid, I was in college also, and I was hanging out with people in college that all moved out and they were all on their own, and I just didn't see how they did it, because at my college the courses, like each class was at least 4 hours each class, because it was like an accelerated learning college. Like you were going to be able to get your bachelor's in 3 years at this college that I went to. So the classes were very long and there wasn't any time in the day to work a full-time job, you know, and successfully be able to pay your bills and go to this school. So I was always very confused on how these kids were able to live on their own. And then I found out the reason why they were able to do it was because they were getting help from mommy and daddy getting apartments, and I didn't have that support at all. Like my mom didn't even really want me to go to college, to be honest, and I had to do all that college paperwork and stuff by myself, and my uncle actually paid for me to go to college. While I'm in college I was doing all these odd jobs. I probably only had like $1,500 left from that $5,000 that I had gotten in June, and by this time it's like November or so, maybe December, and I'm working all these odd jobs, like these waitressing jobs, and I'm trying to save up as much as I can, but it's so hard to pinch all these nickels and dimes when I'm not making that much money and I'm not working full-time, and it was just really hard for me to do. There was points in times where I did work 2 jobs at once, but it was still a lot of pressure because like I had to pay my bills. I had a phone bill and I had my car insurance bill. My car insurance was stupid high because I was on the same car insurance as my mother, who had gotten into hella accidents. So my car insurance was super high. I could barely pay my car insurance monthly, let alone my phone bill. But my phone was my first priority because I was a working person and I was on call a lot because I always wanted to pick up shifts. So my phone was my first priority, and then my car insurance, you know, I would scrape up nickels and dimes, or I would beg my mom like, please, I'll give you 50% now, or like, can I at least give you the majority of what I have? And I would just be broke for like weeks. And then it also didn't help that I had a weed problem and I was always buying weed, and for some reason I was prioritizing buying weed instead of paying my fucking car insurance. Like, adulting in the beginning for me was very hard. I got really low. I thought I was never going to be able to leave my mom's house. And the worst thing is like when you're working really hard and you're in school and stuff, and then you have somebody like treating you like a child when you're busting your ass like an adult. It was really frustrating. Like that was a really low point in my life, like realizing how hard shit really is when you're doing this shit by yourself. There was a point in time where my college actually, the campus was going to be closing because something, it was like my art institute campus and like Kaiser and like a whole bunch of people that were owned by these private colleges or whatever, they were all closing all of the doors. I think for some like scam, I don't know if it was a scam, I don't know. I'll put some links below. I don't really remember the specifics of it. My uncle did not feel secure in paying for this schooling anymore because his fear was that people were going to see my degree and then not know the school that I went to, and then it wouldn't be credible. Because his wife actually got a degree from the Art Institute, but then went ahead to another college and got another degree that was more credible. So he didn't want me to make that same mistake. So he told me, he was like, look, this is your last semester here. We're just gonna stop doing it. I really wanted to go back to school or like transfer to a community college, but my uncle had was planning on having a baby with his wife and starting their own family, and I knew that it wouldn't be right for me to just, you know, keep taking his money when he's trying to start his own family. So I decided, like, you know what, I'm gonna try to work hard to put myself back in school, but right now I need to get myself the fuck out of this toxic situation because it was constantly being thrown in my face like, look, you're not in school anymore, like you need to get out, basically. Like ever since I was in high school, I was always told you have to get out at 18, like you have to get out. Once I finished up my last semester at the Art Institute, I was like, okay, now I can get a full-time job and maybe I can move out. I got a full-time job. And I started working there. I was making way more money, but it still wasn't a lot. It was only 10 bucks an hour. I was only making 10 bucks an hour at this full-time job, but I was still able to put money away because I was still living with my mom. So the majority of my money went to my savings because all I had to pay was my phone bill and my car insurance, because my car was like purchased, like I owned the car. Well, my mom owned the car, but you get what I mean. Like I put the insurance in her name, but it was my car. Started working at this job. I worked at this job for a whole year before I felt comfortable in moving out. I worked at this job for a whole year so that I could see the ins and outs of this job. I knew how I was going to be paid. I knew how much I could put aside, and then I knew what my paychecks looked like each month. I knew what my gross income was going to be, so that when I did make that leap, I would have all of my paperwork in check and I could get approved for something. I saved up for a year. I went apartment hunting, and as you guys know, that's when like my roommate horror story was going on, when I moved in with that girl Libra or whatever. But I pretty much did all of the moving myself. Like I looked for the apartments. I went on tours with her, but I looked at the apartments. I did all the paperwork. I would bring her the paperwork. I furnished the apartment myself. And like basically what I did with furnishing is I did get recycled furnishing that my mom was getting rid of because she bought new furniture for her new apartment. So she let me have that furniture. And then I just went to like thrift stores and stuff and like filled up with little knickknacks here and there. I highly advise that you guys don't just like rush into filling up your apartment. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, just find little things here and there. Get staple pieces of furniture so you're not sitting or sleeping on the floor. But like, don't rush to get that flat screen, or like don't rush to do any of this. Like, I didn't have like a big flat screen living room TV entertainment center until my second apartment. Like, you just got to think of the necessities you need. With my first spot, I did not have cable. I just had Wi-Fi, and we used Netflix a lot. We also had like a gaming system we played games on. As for food and stuff, because when I moved into my first apartment, like I was like still living paycheck to paycheck. I just wanted to be out of my mom's house, so I was on some poor girl shit, girl. So I'm about to tell you how you finesse living in an apartment on some poor girl shit. I had rented a washer and dryer to eliminate laundromat fees and stuff like that, and basically that cost me only $60 a month. So between me and whatever roommate I had at the time, we were only paying 30 bucks each a month for laundry, which may not seem like a lot to you guys, because if you go to a laundromat it could be cheaper, but it's way better than sitting in the laundromat for hours and like, you know, doing the whole process. So it was worth it. I did rent the washer and dryer. Like I said, we had Wi-Fi, we didn't have cable. Oh, and our Wi-Fi was slow as fuck. I got the cheapest AT&T Wi-Fi. It was only 60 bucks a month. And every time I tried to call them to advance the speed, it just was not working. Like, they were like, this is the highest speed in your area. What else? I had like a baby ass TV in my room with like a Wii. If you guys remember the Nintendo Wii, I had a baby ass TV in my room with the Wii system, and we would watch Netflix in there as well. There was a TV in the living room, but the TV in the living room would come and go depending on who my roommate was, because at the end of the day I would always have a TV in my room, so I didn't really care. So whoever was living with me at the time, there may be a TV, there may not be a TV. And then that one roommate I had, he would always pawn the TV and then unpawn it, put it back. Yeah, I've had some funny ass roommates. What else? For food, dollar store. Girl, I would go to the Dollar Tree, get like a whole bunch of frozen meals, banquet meals and stuff, hella ramen noodles, hella ramen noodles, girl. I was thinking of all types of dishes to make with ramen noodles. Ramen noodles with the egg crack, bitch. So tons of like snacks and stuff, popcorn, hot chocolate, you know, things that just doesn't go bad. As for like refrigerator items, we would buy like staple pieces. Like, I don't really drink milk, but if I did have a roommate that drank milk, they would get milk. And I would always get like eggs and bacon. I'm a big breakfast person, so I'm willing to spend money on breakfast. So I would get eggs and bacon. At this time in my first apartment, I did still smoke weed, but the majority of like the people I would hang with or whatever would like smoke me out, because I wouldn't really buy weed like that, because now that I had this apartment, I just couldn't afford it, because I was living paycheck to fucking paycheck, like literally. So, but I don't smoke weed today. That my pockets is real deep, because I don't partake in that no more. Oh, I did end up buying like an alarm system for my door. I don't know if that's petty or not, but it was really cheap off of Amazon. It was like 10 bucks, and it's basically like a little sensor to let you know if somebody opened your door and like how many times it was open and the last time that it was open. So I would always know if somebody went in my stuff. I did have like an encyclopedia book. I still have it in the living room. It's a fake encyclopedia, but it's actually like a safe. You put a key lock in it, and my roommates and I would put all of our money in that encyclopedia book, and then once the end of the month happened, we would cash out. But yeah, it's just the little things. You just have to save a lot. You have to always save. You have to pre-plan and make sure that you can even afford where you're trying to live. Don't always try to go for the most luxurious spot in your first apartment. Just try to focus on safety. Focus on the area that you're moving in, on if it is safe. I don't condone like, because I always made sure my apartment may have not have been luxurious, but it was at least in an okay area. Like me and my roommates would often walk from our apartment to like the gas station or something, like at night. Like, it wasn't even that bad of an area, but there would be some hood shit going on every now and again, but it wasn't a horrible area. Like, try to make sure you stay in a nice area, but also make sure that it's affordable. Make sure that it's close to whatever job that you have, because my apartment, even now when I was working at Ratchet Corp, my old job, very, very close to my job, because if something does go down with your vehicle or something like that, you always want to make it an easy transport to get to and from work, because that's how you're going to be paying for your apartment. Pets. I highly advise not getting pets until you can take care of yourself and then some. Like, you do not want to get a pet if you're living paycheck to paycheck in an apartment. It costs more. I don't know about anywhere else, but in Florida you have to pay pet rent, and you have to put a deposit down for your pet. So it's more expensive to even have a pet in the apartment, let alone vet appointments, food, stuff like that. So for a first apartment, I don't know if that's a good route to go. I highly advise saving. I highly advise prioritizing what you spend your money on. Will I say don't do a roommate? I'm not really sure if I would completely say don't do a roommate, because having roommates does build a lot of character. It makes you realize other people's personalities. It makes you realize living habits of your own that you never noticed. So I wouldn't say completely no roommates, and it does help you financially to have a roommate, you know. So I wouldn't say completely no roommates. It's completely up to you, but I feel for your first spot, it would be a little bit healthier to go into something with somebody else. Most likely a roommate that has had roommates before who's a little bit more experienced, so they can guide you a little bit. When you do get your first spot, if somebody in your family wants to take you grocery shopping or something, say yes. Say fuck, girl. Say, that would be my thing. Whenever my grandma was like, you want to go to the grocery store? Fuck yes. We would each have a shopping cart each. Go in the store, get what you need. Those would be the best fucking days. I remember that. I don't need that anymore, but like when I was broke, bitch, like that was everything. Like I appreciated that so much. I'm like, yes, my grandma's about to come and take me to the grocery store. Oh, and like the most important thing, have respect for your new apartment when you get it. Don't turn your apartment into like the hangout spot, the trap house. Like, try to make it your home as much as possible. Like, have respect for what you worked for to get, you know what I mean? And that's pretty much all I have to say. If you guys have any tips for people who are thinking about moving out, please leave them in the comments below. My main thing is save, 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 and don't jump too quick. Make sure you know the way you're getting your money is a secure way to get money, because you don't want to move in somewhere and then lose your job and now you're like contractually obliged to pay your landlord. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's another big thing. Like, look, that shit is no fucking joke. Signing a lease is very serious. If you do not pay your rent and you get evicted, they will take you to court. It is harder to get future apartments if you get evicted. So yeah, just make sure you save up and that you're prepared for, even if you do lose a job, you still have a backbone, you know what I mean? Alright guys, I hope this helped any of you youngins out there trying to move out, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!
The truth will set you free, but first it'll piss you off.